Hey everyone, welcome back to Book Reviews, and today we're going to be talking about one of my absolute favorite series of all time, of any genre, any age group, and I don't say that lightly, I really mean it. In the last probably 10 years or so, I have not read a series I have enjoyed as much as this one, and it is the Airborn series by Kenneth Oppel. Kenneth Oppel is a Canadian author. He also wrote the Silverwing series that we talked about a couple of times ago. This series, the genre is kind of what we would call steampunk, which is a really kind of weird name, but basically it means it's set in an imaginary version of the past, kind of around like late 1800s, early 1900s, and there's all kinds of machinery and technology that's different from what actually existed. So in this case, as you can see here from the cover, instead of ships crossing the ocean, humanity has gone in the direction of building airships, like these giant zeppelins that cross the skies, and they're powered by a fictional gas called hydrium, which doesn't explode like hydrogen does, which is why in real life, zeppelins never really took off. Pun intended. Anyways, this series follows a kid named Matt Cruz, and Matt Cruz is the cabin boy on board an airship called the Aurora, which is basically like the Titanic of airships. One night, Matt Cruz's airship gets taken over by air pirates, which are definitely as awesome as they sound. And these air pirates basically cripple the Aurora, and it crashes into a desert island, and the whole crew and all the passengers now have to survive. And there's this aristocratic girl named Kate DeVries. She's rich and upper class, and she and Matt strike up a friendship, and they go exploring on the island together, and she is looking for some strange animals that her grandfather once, who was an explorer, supposedly sighted on that island many, many years ago. I won't give away much more than that. I'm going to give this book and the whole series actually a 5 out of 5 stars. It's totally, totally awesome. The reason why it's good is because every aspect of it is well done. The characters are amazing. You feel like you get to know them so well. They're so distinct. They're so interesting. They've got real depth to them and their personalities. And the contrast between Matt and Kate in particular, and the way that they're very different from each other, causes lots of tension, but also builds some interesting romance as well that kind of goes throughout the series. So that's really cool. Then you have the setting, which is a really, really interesting kind of old-fashioned setting, and yet with this kind of new technology in there, which is really interesting. The action and adventure, though, and the suspense is second to none. I don't remember when I've ever been as engrossed in an action scene or a suspense scene in the last 10 years or so as I have when I read this book. There are some parts where I was almost literally on the edge of my seat. It's just that well done. Plus, there's a touch of fantasy in these novels as well. I won't give away what that's all about, but there's a little bit of the fantasy genre that kind of creeps in here as well, but not too much, just like the perfect amount of it. So if you want a book series that is the whole package, it's got amazing characters, action, adventure, an awesome setting, a little bit of romance, some fantasy, all that kind of thrown in there. You cannot do better than the Airborn series. And as a bonus, the second book is even better than the first one, which, I mean, that never happens, right? But it happened in this case. The second book is called Skybreaker. It's amazing. And then the third book, Star Climber, is also super, super well done. So the whole series is interesting. None of the books disappoint you at all. And the relationship between Matt and Kate kind of forms the centerpiece that carries the whole series, that kind of carries it along. Anyhow, please stop this video now, read the book, and then come tell me what you thought, because I think you're going to love it. And happy reading.